There is a moment that happened before your first breath, a moment you cannot recall no matter how hard you try, not because your memory is weak, but because the forgetting was the agreement. You made a deal, and the price of entry into this life was total amnesia. Let me explain. Across dozens of cultures, separated by oceans and centuries, the same story appears. The soul exists before the body. It knows things. It carries wisdom from somewhere ancient and vast. And then, right before birth, something happens. The knowledge is taken. In Greek mythology, they called it the River Lethe. Every soul drinks from it before entering the physical world and forgets everything it once knew. In Jewish mystical tradition, an angel touches the space above a newborn slip, that small groove called the philtrum, and in that single touch, all memory of the divine is erased. The Tibetan Buddhists describe a bardo, an in-between state, where the soul is fully aware before it descends into flesh and loses access to what it understood. These civilizations never exchanged notes, and yet they all arrived at the same terrifying conclusion. You knew everything, and you agreed to let it go. Now here is where it gets unsettling. What if the forgetting is not a punishment? What if it is the entire point? Think about a video game. If you already knew every obstacle, every enemy, every ending, would you bother playing? The challenge is the experience. The mystery is the meaning. Some researchers studying pre-birth consciousness believe the soul selects not only its life, but specifically chooses to forget why it selected that life. The struggle you are enduring right now, the one that feels random and unfair, may be the exact curriculum you designed for yourself. You just erased the syllabus on the way in. But the forgetting is not perfect, and this is where things get fascinating. You have had moments where something broke through, a place you have never visited that felt like home, a stranger whose eyes carried a familiarity you could not explain, a skill that came to you so naturally it felt less like learning and more like remembering. Children under the age of 5 frequently report memories that do not belong to their current life. Dr. Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia documented over 2,500 cases of children recalling verified details from lives they never lived. These are not fantasies. These are cracks in the wall of forgetting, moments where whatever was erased bleeds through. And perhaps the most disturbing part is this: your deepest fears may not come from this life at all. Phobias with no origin, a terror of drowning when you have never nearly drowned, an inexplicable dread of a specific place or era in history. Traditional psychology calls these irrational fears, but what if they are rational memories from an experience your conscious mind was never supposed to access? What if your anxiety is not a malfunction, but an echo from the life your soul lived before it signed the contract to forget? So why would you agree to this? Why would any conscious being choose blindness over sight? Because knowledge without experience is hollow. You can read every book about grief and still not understand loss until you hold the hand of someone you love for the last time. The forgetting forces you to discover truth through living rather than simply inheriting it. Every revelation you reach, every moment of clarity that strikes you at 3 in the morning, every time you suddenly understand something you cannot put into words, that is not new information. That is you remembering what you always knew. The veil is thinning, and the fact that you are hearing this right now is not an accident. You were not meant to stay asleep forever. The agreement was to forget, but no one ever said you could not find your way back. The question is not whether you made this deal. The question is, what were you so determined to learn that you are willing to forget everything just for the chance to discover it again?